Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks so much for clicking on today's video. So I am back again with another for dark skin video. I have done one for nude lips, done one for red lips, and now I am back with blushes. If you guys don't know, I would say that blush is definitely one of my top favorite categories in terms of makeup, lips being number one, and then blush comes in there also very highly ranked as well. I just love what you can do with blush and how complete it makes your face look, but also how you can basically change how your face feels with blush depending on the shade that you go for, but also like the intensity that you go for or not. So I'm going to be running through some of my favorite blushes. I had actually ordered some extra blushes that are on the way still, but they're taking a little bit long to get here, so I just decided that I would film this video without them. I might do a part two, so if you'd like to see a part two, give the video a thumbs up. While you're there, why don't you go ahead and hit the subscribe button? It would mean so much to me and would help me grow my channel. Also, if you do, then make sure to leave me a comment down below. I love talking to my new subscribers and you old ones as well. Leave me a comment down below. Yes, and don't forget to hit the notification bell because that's how you will get notified that I have posted a new video. YouTube is playing all of us right now. The algorithm is messed up, which means sometimes you might not see my video in your feed even though you subscribed to the channel. So hit the notification bell and you will get notified. So without much ado, let's get into the video. So I've got a number of blushes for you and I will be doing hand swatches for you. I had tried to figure out if I could do face swatches, but with the whole base and trying to wipe it off and put it back on, that would have been way too much. So I'll be doing hand swatches for you, but I will make sure to zoom in a little bit closer so that you can see those quite clearly. This is the Black Radiance Artisan Colour Baked Blush in the shade Baked Almond. I've been seeing this on lists for a number of years. On like, you know, get this if you're looking for a blush for dark skin, and I finally managed to pick it up. So here it is. Yes, it's in one of those kind of like domed baked blush containers, and this colour is beautiful. I wouldn't say the name of this is very accurate. Toasted almond doesn't look like toasted almond at all. Toasted almonds are like white, and when they're toasted they kind of go like a brown, like a pecan-y brown. This is more of a terracotta shade, but with warm kind of red and browns in it, so it leans a little bit more earthy. The thing I love about this blush is that you can't go in too hard with it. So because of this kind of like baked formula, you get a really nice kind of softly milled colour, but it takes quite a bit to kind of like build it up. So I like it because you can't just do that kind of mistake of going in way too heavy and then not being able to kind of reduce once it's on your face. And it has a beautiful sheen to it as well, which looks very kind of natural, glow from within. I think if you're a lighter complexion than I am, then you'll probably get more payoff on this, but if you're around my colour, what you're going to need to do is probably just layer it up a couple of times, but that's going to give you control and it's going to give you the most beautiful finish. I've been wearing this with looks over the past couple of weeks and I am in love with it. Another one that I've been seeing on lists for a number of years is these e.l.f. blushes, not specifically this shade, but just this range of blushes. They are the Primer Infused blushes by e.l.f. The pan is actually a very decent size. I thought it was going to be much smaller than this, but it arrived and I was like, oh, okay, that's good. So this is in the shade Always Spicy. It's a very similar shade to the one before, but this one has a little bit more orange to it. This one is really nice and creamy and goes on really nicely and smoothly and blends out quite well. It's also one that I think that you can build up quite nicely. It's not as sheer as the other one when you first apply it, but once you apply it and you kind of buff it out, it sheers out a little bit, so then you can kind of go back and add a little bit more to build it up to the look that you would want. I also get really nice wear out of this one, probably because of the primer in it that helps it kind of go a little bit longer in terms of longevity. This comes in a number of different shades. I haven't tried out any of the other ones, but this was one of the darkest ones in the collection, and based on what I could find online, it looked like it would be good for my skin, and I'm loving wearing this. Sticking with e.l.f., this one's an oldie but an absolute goodie. This is actually a blush palette, and it's a 4-pan blush palette which comes with a mirror. Let me just close that so I don't blind you. But it's in the colourway dark. It also comes in light if you are of a slightly fairer skin tone. But this palette, like, together is just beautiful. So it has this kind of peachy tone here, a nice kind of cool toned medium pink, a beautiful, rich, almost raspberry-ish red, but this one has kind of like gold iridescent flecks running through it. And then again, that colour that I'm obsessed with, I don't know what it's called, that kind of burnt, orangey, reddy brown shade, again in the bottom there. So I love this one because it's kind of multi-purpose. So if you're kind of going away for a trip and you don't want to pack too many things, a palette like this is perfect because then you just throw it in, and depending on what you want to, you know, wear that day, you can kind of dip into each of these shades as you will. Personally, I find that I use the bottom two shades a lot more than I do the top two shades, just because I think that the top two shades on my skin tone can end up looking a little bit ashy if I want the colour payoff. It's just a little bit borderline. If you're a bit lighter than me, then you probably will get the colour as it's supposed to be, but if you're like me and darker, then maybe not. But it's totally worth it just for the two at the bottom. I really like what they did with this pink shade here, and the fact that they added in those subtle glitters. I think it gives what this looks like in the pan, but perfect for dark skin. And then that bottom shade there, that's kind of that burnt, beautiful colour that I keep talking about, is gorgeous. Alright, next up, and sticking to the palettes. Actually, I think the next few ones I'm going to show you are actually all palettes, but this is from Sleek. Sleek also does blush palettes, but in 3 shades, also comes with a mirror. This one is in the colourway Pink Sprint, and it has 3 beautiful shades. So I think this one is Pink Parfait, Pink Ice, and Pink Teeny, but could also be the other way around, but I think that's the way that it is. You can get these anywhere they kind of sell Sleek products, in the supermarket or in like the beauty shop or something of the sort. I love how this is kind of conceptualized around pinks, so that if you are a person that leans more towards pink blushes, then this is enough for you to go. The thing about Sleek palettes is that they are all super pigmented, so you can't do with this what you can do with the Black Radiance, like build it up from the sheer. No, if you go in with a little bit of this, you are going to get the colour, and it is going to look very similar to what you're getting in the pan, so you are going to get that poof. So go in gently, tap off your brush just to make sure you get off the excess before you start to build up. The amazing thing about the pigmentation is that dark skin lovelies like me and you can get away with this. So this works really beautifully and shows up even on the richest of skin tones, particularly the super bright ones. So the one I'm calling Pink Parfait, and I think that's the shade, it's kind of like a blue toned pink. It's almost purple in tone. Looks like a fuchsia almost when you apply it. Beautiful. The middle one is like a screaming hot pink. That is like Candy Yum Yum, you know, like matte Candy Yum Yum. That's exactly what that looks like when you first swatch it, but of course you can kind of blend it out as it goes. And then the last one is a beautiful deep pink, Pink Teeny. It's just gorgeous to me. Again, it does have a little bit of a purple undertone, but not as much as the other one, so it doesn't come up too blue on the face, and you can actually use that to kind of give a little bit of depth to your face if you want that colour there. So when that pink palette came out, I quickly realised that there was also an orange one, and you know, yes, I copped it. Here it is right here. This is called, what's this called? Flame. So it's lovely orange shades in the same kind of concept as the other one. 3 shades of different tones that work on dark skin. So there's this shade, which is the palest one, which I think is Molten. Then we have Bonfire in the middle, which again is that really bright kind of screaming orange. I don't know if that's kind of translating on screen, but it is super bright. And then Furnace, which is a deep warm orange, which also has a little bit of shimmer in it. So for me, the first shade, the lightest one, I can use, but I tend to feel as though it does run a little bit too pale for me to really make it a blush. So I don't really use it on my own, but I do use the 2 others all the time. So the middle orange one, again, is just a almost neon shade of orange, but it is just so pretty once you blend it out into the skin. And that's the one that I mostly blend with the lighter colour, to kind of get a medium toned orange. And then the last shade here has, as I said, a sheen to it. So this is beautiful for either on the cheeks, if you want to go full on the cheeks with like something that has iridescence, Or you can also use this close to the top of your cheeks, kind of like almost like a highlighter. So I would put down the middle one first, and then that one kind of just like near the top of it, and it's just gorgeous together. Or I put it on top of the other one, but with a very, very light hand, just to kind of add a little bit of dimension, but not like, you know, the full sheen, if you get what I mean. So if you're into oranges, again, that's perfect, because then you can just kind of throw it into your kit as you're traveling and you just use that. I find that I reach more for the orange palette than I do for the pink one, just because I think the orange looks just beautiful on dark skin, and I love how it kind of warms it up. But there are times, of course, when you just want that little bit of coolness, a little bit of contrast, and that's when I would reach for the pink one. So I wouldn't ever get rid of the pink one just because I have the orange one. I think they are both necessary for me in my collection. So the last one I want to show you is this right here, and this is the Saharan Blush Volume 1 palette by Juvia's Place. It's more of a face palette actually than a blush palette, but I'll explain just now. So you get 6 different shades that look like that. By the way, this is volume 1, and there is a volume 2 which has slightly not as intense shades as this, which I think works better for like medium to fairer skin tones. So you get 6 shades in here, 3 which are definitely more blush, 1 which is to me contour, and 2 which are highlighters. So there is a screaming pink in here called Zane. Zane reminds me a little bit of the other pink shade in the Sleek palette, but it's just a little bit deeper. So a little bit more purplish in tone. Then there's Toby here in the middle. Toby, again, a really nice and bright orange, but in a different way from the orange in the Sleek palette. I think Toby has a little bit more brightness to it, a little bit more yellow in it. And then there's this shade here in the middle called Neo, which is, again, that's nice, warm. I need to find out what this color is called, but basically this warm orangey reddy brown shade, which is really nice actually even as a bronzer if you fancy it. But it does have, but just go gentle with it if you are going to use it as a bronzer, because it has a little bit of red in it and you don't want it to look like you've been bruised. Then this shade at the bottom here, which is not technically a blush but could be if you are a lot darker than me, is called Abby or Abby, and this is like a purpley brown shade. I use that for contour, but I do also have to go in really gentle handed with that just to make sure that it doesn't come up looking muddy. I love the kind of range of shades in here. They are very pigmented, so just go in again with a gentle hand and blend it out as necessary. I've actually got this palette on my face today, and I've mixed together the pink and the orange shade Zane and Toby, and that's what I've got on my face. Bronzer and whatever I used from a different palette, but I think this is really, really versatile if you're looking for a kit, as it were, to kind of use for blush, bronzer and contour and highlight, because they are the 2 highlighter shades in there as well. So that rounds up today's video. Just a quick look at some of my blushes that I really enjoy. Of course, I don't always just use blushes for blush. I very often dip in and out of my makeup palettes when there is a particular shade that I want, and use eyeshadow as blush. That's the pro tip, by the way. You don't have to be so restricted. So look at your eyeshadow palette as a multi-use tool. You can go in there and pick out some shades as well. So that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and follow me over on Instagram as well. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.